Toragi the Frog, I know what you're thinking, clan boss. Obviously, he is a great candidate for that. We briefly saw him in yesterday's video against the Ice Golem. We're going to review that quickly, but I've tweaked the gear for a 2-key Ultra Nightmare, and we're going to take a look at that as well in today's video, so let's jump right in. So here we go with the skills. First, decrease attack A1, always really good for the clan boss. It's only 40% chance though, so that's a little bit risky. AoE provoke for the A2, great for dungeons and everything else basically. And then here's what I really like about this champion: ally protection and shield buff on all the allies except himself. And then he heals himself also, but places a 30% reflect damage on top of that. The heal will be bigger depending on how many poison debuffs are on the enemy team. And then for the passive, also has a chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. This is great, especially if you only have another support poisoner on your team like I do, or for today's test, which is going to be Bad Alcazar. I brought this guy in because he's going to replace my rearguard sergeant for this test, which also had ally protection, continuous heal. On her A1, she had decreased defense. Okay, so you can kind of see they're very similar, but rearguard sergeant is a defense type champion. Toragi the Frog here is HP type. So I feel it's a little bit harder to increase his damage. You also want more HP on this champ, although you need to reach a really high value of defense. It makes it kind of hard. He has low defense to start with. So for the individual pieces here, we have basically anything that was going to allow me to reach the right stats. Okay, so here they are. We do have, unfortunately, only speed boots. I would love for this to be defense percent or maybe HP percent. And then we have defense percent chest, defense percent gloves. And you can kind of see that my accuracy is really low. That is because I could not get an accuracy banner on the test server on time. But flat defense is actually pretty good, and I would still try to work with that. If I were building this guy up from scratch, I would get the accuracy on the gear. We do have flat defense here and flat defense right there. So for total stats, we are looking at 192 speed, just above my counterattack champion, 47% crit rate, too low. I do have Bad Alcazar in the lead. This would need to be at 75%. I would like to have more crit damage, and I would need like 240 accuracy. So you can kind of see that this is not perfect, which is why I'm saying it's a 2-key Ultra Nightmare, as you'll see with the results. For the Masteries, pretty obvious, we go with War Master, and then kind of like in the support tree here, hoping to extend basically the sorry, not extend, but have some bigger heals. Although this is kind of a little bit pointless because the heal is on himself, but the value of the shield buffs is a little bit bigger. So I'm thinking if there is a stun on the target, it might help out a little bit. So again, this is maybe not perfect, but this is what I decided to use for today's test. So now let's briefly go over the Ice Golem before we get to the clan boss, which is basically the same run as yesterday. But I do want to point out a few things about Toragi specifically for this. He might be good in other dungeons, but he has the AoE provoke, which is great right there to control the ads. Also, the decreased attack on the A1, if he goes for the boss, that is going to help your team tremendously if you go into a couple frigid vengeances back to back, which is usually the case if you have a new team. On top of that, we do have the ally protection and the shield, which should help us hopefully survive a couple hits from the Ice Golem himself. And I think that that overall is pretty good. So if you're just starting out and you get this champion, he can definitely help you progress. He's one of those. He can be in your clan boss team. I don't think he's necessarily an upgrade for my account, but overall for you guys, he might be a pretty good choice across the board. Now let's go check the clan boss. And here's the team we are going to be comparing it to. This is my actual clan boss team. So all I did was, like I said, replace rearguard with Toragi the Frog because we have ally protection. So I have 2 ally protection champions on this team. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. We have 1 counterattack. We have Stalwart, a lifesteal, Stalwart. This was toxic, but now Toragi is going to be in Stalwart because he has the poison on his passive, and then Stalwart on Iron Brago. I will say this right away: I am expecting less damage from Toragi anyway because HP versus a defense type champion with rearguard, and then that means that Iron Brago will not be boosting the damage of Toragi the Frog. But still, if you're looking for double ally protection, this should bring you in the range of a 2-key Ultra Nightmare for a similar team. So now let's go quickly check at the run itself. We're not going to watch it all. It does work on full auto because I'm tuned specifically for Ultra Nightmare. So that means all the champions are above 190. Our counterattack champion Skull Crusher is going last. You saw that Toragi opened up with his basically ally protection skill. So we have 2 ally protections rolling at the same time, which should help mitigate more damage in the long run. So I usually expect from this team a 1 million per turn. That's what I have on my actual team. Now we're a little bit less, obviously, mainly due to the accuracy. I just don't have enough on Toragi, so we're not getting that poison to proc often enough, and we're also not even getting the decreased attack to proc most of the time. Therefore, again, not perfect, but still we do get a reasonable amount of damage out of this similar team. So we're going to fast forward a little bit more to the end because this is basically it for the entire run. But I will point this out though, that Toragi is not the first one to die. I think he actually is pretty good with the self-heal. Also, if you have Immortal on him, I think he is going to have a lot of sustainability. My Rosin is actually the first one to die, so he's going to become the stun target, I think, right here, because now his HP is a little bit too low compared to Skull Crusher. And so even with the Steadfast Mastery on Battle Khazar, at some point the stun target will change if the HP is just too low, but you guys know that already. So let's keep going here a little bit. We're going to see that happen in a second, I think, right there. So he got stunned, and he's not going to recover from this. I do cleanse, but we don't get a big proc here from our Life Drinker Mastery with the War Master. And then he's down, and as you can see right there, Skull Crusher goes down. Our Toragi is still going strong, and then he's going to heal himself on top of that. Again, very good, but overall not perfect. We end up being in the range of about, I think it's 32 million. So I say 2 key Ultra Nightmare because, again, with better stats, I'm pretty sure we could reach that amount. Toragi the Frog only dealing about 4 million damage, which is all right, but like I said, I would expect a little bit more from this champion if we had a lot more accuracy. All right, so I would expect this to be perhaps in the range of 5 or maybe even 7 million perhaps if we had the right amount of crit rate. But overall, I think it's a viable strategy. Again, if you guys are just starting out and you want to go double ally protection, Toragi the Frog with Skull Crusher is a great option. Let's quickly go over each of these champions so that you guys have a better understanding as what you might need to reach these numbers. We have 193 speed, 72% crit rate, 211% crit damage on our Rosin, 221 accuracy, just about all right. Battle Khazar here, we're looking at 236 accuracy, 194 speed, so he's the fastest, 74% crit rate, 184% crit damage. Then we've got our very trusty Iron Brago. I love this champion, 193 speed, 5.6k defense, 93% crit rate, perhaps a little bit too high for a Battle Khazar. So I would like to convert that into more crit damage at some point if I could. Then we're going to have our Skull Crusher, which is right here. I have yet to test Skull Crusher in Stalwart for this type of team. It might work. I just don't have enough Stalwart gear left on my account to make it though. So we have 191 speed, so the slowest on the team, 4.8k defense, 46k HP. Crit rate is too low. I'm missing about 20 some percent, 25, 34% actually. 115% crit damage, also a little bit too low. You don't want accuracy on this guy. And then finally, one more time here for our Toragi the Frog. So in Stalwart, total stats, 192 speed, too low on the crit rate, too low on accuracy, 3.6k defense, all right-ish. More HP would obviously mean more damage, but again, very hard to do. The skills are all done. And then for the Masteries, here they are with War Master as the tier 6. And finally, a quick snapshot of the Great Hall before I let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later.